Hi, I'm Esma. I'm the owner and the manager of the Clean Green Nappy machine. I set it up about 9 and a bit years ago when my little girl was born. My partner and I used cloth nappies on her. We set up the company, and 10 years later I'm probably one of the most experienced cloth nappy advisors in the country. I'm here in our shop in Hebden Bridge, the first and only specialist cloth nappy shop in the country, and I wanted to have a quick run through on the different types of cloth nappies so that you can look at which ones are going to suit you as you choose which ones to go for. The first style obviously then is the unshaped nappy, and this is what a lot of people think about when they think about cloth. Old-fashioned terry squares, they used to be pinned together. Now we have modern innovations like the nappy nipper, and it's also joined the terry square in the flat nappy category by a pre-fold, which is this one here, and we'll look at them in a little bit more detail down the line. But with both of these, the idea is that it's a flat piece of fabric which is folded into shape and then covered with a waterproof outer, and that is the system that you would then use. You also have an innovation which some people would put into the shaped nappy category and some people would say is a flat nappy. This is a system where you have a shaped outer, but you have flat pads which then sit inside, and you can add one or more of those to customise the absorbency. Because when you put it inside the wrap, it is a shaped nappy, it can sit between the two categories, but I'm including it here so that you have as full an idea as possible about what flat nappies can be. So just to summarise then, a flat insert, a pre-fold nappy, an old-fashioned terry square, and all of those would be covered by a waterproof wrap. So the second, and by far the most popular option for cloth nappies, is a shaped nappy. And you've got two options with shaped nappies. You've got a shaped nappy which is a two-parter, so you would put the wrap that we saw before, I've just got it hidden in there, over the top again. And then you've got a shaped nappy which is an all-in-one, something like this, where you've got your absorbency already sewn in or already integrated in some way to the nappy. With a shaped nappy, obviously the massive advantage, you can see here, it's shaped a little bit like a disposable. It fits on a bit like a pair of pants, but that you can fasten, and that makes it much simpler to change baby, and we find a lot of parents go for this option. And the shaped nappy is then broken down even further into an all-in-one and a two-piece. And what you have with an all-in-one is a bit of fabric that somehow is integrated or sewn in, and the entire thing goes on as one piece. But what you have with a two-piece nappy is a piece of fabric like this, which fastens on, another example here, and then a separate outer, which is your waterproofing. Now when it comes to all-in-ones, we've got several different options. And when all-in-ones first developed, they were a fabulous idea because they were so much easier to use, and they made cloth nappies much more accessible to a far greater range of people. However, there were a couple of problems with them, and I used to have a demo nappy that I would show, which is an old-fashioned all-in-one from back when I started, and unfortunately I don't have that anymore. It was lost in a flood in our shop a few years ago. But what it demonstrated was that when you sewed in a piece of fabric, and a typical cloth nappy is an hourglass shape when you open it up like this. So when you sewed in a bit of fabric all the way around the edges, and then you pop that on baby, because you needed so much fabric for it to be absorbent enough, it would be very bulky on your baby. You would have bulk that went all the way around the hips and all the way around the nappy. And that was because they were sewed in all the way to the edges. And the other problem that you had as well is that we didn't have the modern fabrics that we have now. So you had cotton as in use in the vast majority of these nappies, whereas now we have microfibres and bamboos, which are far more absorbent. And because it was cotton, and because it wasn't as absorbent, you needed more layers of it. So again, that added to the bulk. And then when you hung it up to dry, you would have several layers of fabric with waterproofing on the back, and it would take days sometimes to dry. Now I'm doing this nappy a bit of a disservice because this isn't that style of nappy, but just to demonstrate what it used to be like, I wanted to use that. What we have now is a range of innovations that allow your nappy to come apart in some way when you're washing it, which makes it far more effective in the wash, and then much quicker to dry as well. So I'll show you first a true all-in-one, and by that I mean a nappy where everything is sewn into one piece, so we call it a one-piece nappy. And both of these are that style of nappy. This is a Tot Spots nappy, and this is a Bambino Mio. And both of these have the fabric sewn in. So based on what I've just said, you would expect them to take a very long time to dry and to be super bulky. However, I'll show you on this one because the fabric is on the surface in a different way. What you have is a strip of fabric that runs down the middle of the nappy. You don't have any bulk around the hips. So as you put on trousers, leggings, etc., it'll fasten really nicely. And both of them have a very simple innovation that means that when it comes to washing, you simply slide out this bit of fabric so it extends out and it forms a pocket and goes back in when you're ready to put it back on. But for washing, that will wash like that, which means you've got the surface area exposed, it will wash more effectively. It will then hang up to dry, and again, the surface area is exposed. You've got a much quicker drying time there. And that's how a true all-in-one or a one-piece nappy will work. The second style of all-in-ones is probably the one that was most popular sort of from the outset, and that's a pocket nappy. And I've got a few different examples here. And I'm just going to show you this one here. So with this, you have an outer like this, but you have a layer of fleece there which is sewn in with an opening up at the top back of the nappy. And this is separate already, so this is how it would be if it were in the wash or drying. But when you come to pop it on, you simply put the absorbency back inside the nappy, and that then goes on again as a one piece. So again, you've got all of the benefits of having a one piece nappy, really easy to change. However, you can take it apart for your washing and drying to increase the effectiveness of those processes. And all of these three here are pocket nappies. And then the final style that I'd like to show you today is a snap-in one. And again, the snap-in one came about through desire to look at those problems and to really solve them. So this is a pop-in nappy. And if I open this here, you have fabric there, a booster and an extra piece of fabric there, which is your soaker, and you have your waterproof outer. But with this one, the absorbency poppers out for your washing and drying. So there you can see two pieces that would wash, it would hang up to dry separately, and you just pop it all together before you use it. So those are the main styles of nappies. I'll just run through them again. You have your flat nappies, terries, pre-folds and flat pads. You have your shaped nappies, like this one, where you would still put a cover over the top as you would with the terries, etc. And then you have your all-in-ones, and those are broken down into pockets, all-in-ones, and the snap-in ones, which I showed you at the end.